8:09 on a Wednesday morning, and so the film sessions with Marcus Ray are very informative, and we're gonna go over that, Marcus, because when I saw that we were talking about the 80-yard touchdown, and I made the comment, and first of all, folks, Marcus Ray, Rays of Light, brought to you by the Sports Bar West Side. They're all new. They're at the corner of Jackson and Zeeb, and their motto is eat sports, drink sports, watch sports, and talk sports. They're the Sports Bar West Side. Now, Marcus, when I saw that 80-yard touchdown play, and I backed it up and saw how low the safety was, immediately it struck me that it was by design. That there's no way that he's that low, and it's some kind of bust that he is play and run. I mean, safety. I mean, you could see he froze on the play action. I was like, he must have run response. There's no way he's going to bust that big. And Greg Mattison said as much, that defense, that they had the safety lower than normal. You going hard safety action on run action, and in that particular play, now you got Blake Countess man to man on the outside. Now, I think the indication that we got from Greg Mattison was that maybe the play action kind of furrows Blake some, and looking at the film, it didn't happen. that didn't happen. But Marcus, what you talked about was an aspect of the defense that you as a guy, you as a safety, as an All-American guy, you would have made a different call than the call that was called from the sideline. You would have adapted, is what you're saying.
You're exactly right, Sam. See, the one thing about football is a lot of people who watch it, they know how the pieces move, but they don't know how to play the game. So it's kind of like chess. And in that coverage, whenever you hear a coverage, you're supposed to break the field up into fractions. Mm-hmm. So that was a defense where they play quarters, quarter, half. All right. So you got two quarters make up one side of the field. Half field is the other side. That's how you get your one whole. So on the side that you're talking about, Michigan was playing quarter, quarter, half. But they played it where the safety, they call it hard, where he sits heavy on the run.
Right.
But first of all, the play action fake really didn't sell the run. So by design, Blake Countess was going to be inside man to man on any deep routes. But here's the problem. See, here's how you win a national championship versus giving up an 80-yard touchdown. And it starts with coaching. What I would have did, and I even told Jared this, I said, listen, I know that you were coached to do one thing, but you have to be smart enough to know, and Blake is supposed to say, hey, listen, I can't get inside of this route, because that wide receiver did not have a wide split. He was actually 1 yard outside the hash, and a field corner like Blake is never, under no circumstances, supposed to be inside of the hash. So what you do is you still play your quarter, half. You just don't play it 6 hard. So the hard takes the strong safety out of the double team on the post. Mm-hmm. So Jared did what he was coached.
He did what he was coached to do. That was the point that I was making. Hey, he was where he was supposed to be based on the call.
Yeah. So Blake was lined up outside of that guy because he really couldn't line up inside. It just wasn't enough room, and he was going to give up 30 yards of field. So what you do as a secondary, Charles would have said, Ray, what we looking like? I would have told Charles, check out a hard, go regular quarters, get outside. Hey, I got you on the post. That's what experienced guys who are well coached are able to see that on the field. But the other thing nobody's talking about is the backside safety. Clark. He didn't get any depth in his half field coverage. As a half field guy, you're supposed to get deep, and then you can steal the post because the quarterback would have never saw you backside. So to me, it's a complete breakdown back there between Blake, Jared, and Jeremy, because they weren't students of the game enough to recognize present danger. And that's what you have to be able to do to be a great secondary.
I guess for me, I looked at it initially saying, I just think Blake Countess is in a no-win situation there. He's a guy that is, I think he's a heady guy. Man, I know what you just said about that, but he's a heady guy that plays well in off and zone coverage. But in a foot race, he's not going to win that. He's not going to win that with that guy. He's not going to win that with that guy.
And that's where, like, what made me a different player was that I knew my limitations. If I got into a track meet, then I knew I wasn't going to win. But I understood my help around me. So what Blake has to do, you know you can't run with this guy. You make sure that somebody else is supposed to be where they're supposed to be too. Or you check out of it just for that one play. But what Michigan doesn't have is guys that understand how the entire coverage works together. So really,
you're saying it's robotic. So they get the call and then they go out. And
yeah,
they're
of course they're robots. They're not football players. They're not thinkers. Maybe they don't have any. Maybe they're not being taught to think a certain way. But whenever you have a zone coverage where you have two safeties, like a too high look, the upfield route should always be double teamed. Whether it was the field safety and corner, checking out of it to regular quarters and getting some depth, or you stay in your 6 hard and tell the backside safety, you go double the upfield route. So Blake was by himself in no man's land. And that's football 101. And that's the difference between 23 interceptions, only giving up 5 touchdown passes all year, and giving up an 80-yard bomb in a game to a team you shouldn't lose to.
8:15 on a Wednesday morning. So that's the kind of thing that we're talking about. You know, it was funny. I got into a debate with a guy immediately after I said, look, Jarrett Wilson didn't based on the call, Jarrett Wilson didn't bust on that.
He was out of the mix, exactly.
Yeah, he based on the call because they thought the safety blew it. It's no, he did not.
No, he didn't.
He did not. And Madison kind of confirmed it. And he didn't say the exact call, but you said hard. So it looked 4 hard. And then Blake has, you said, man to man. But what you're talking about is football on a different level. See, you're talking about football on a level where you, as an All-American, now you're thinking the game. You can take the call and you can adjust to what you see on the football field. And clearly, obviously, in that particular situation, they weren't able to do that. Now, what Greg Madison said is, he said that's on us as the coaches. He said that's on us as the coaches to coach them up, to get to the point where they can go out and they can, he didn't say make adjustments, but not make some of the mistakes that they made on the football field. I don't know that he was saying that they should have made the checks that you were saying they should have made, but he seemed to really think that guys got out of position even with the call that was made, that maybe they give up a big play, but they don't give up a touchdown if guys execute the way that they were supposed to.
Yeah, guys are supposed to execute, but I still think it would have been hard on Blake to play inside leverage of a guy that has a tight split. If you're going to tell, Charles Woodson would have got beat on that play, but Charles would have said, hey, Ray, I'm in trouble. And I would have looked, I would have said, we all are in trouble. If we stay hard, Tommy, you help him on the post backside. I'm going to rob the dig backside. I'm going to rob the deep end route from the other guy.
If Jeremy Clark has his depth, it is half
it's
responsibility.
It's a no play if Jeremy Clark does what he's supposed to do.
So if they had executed, even with the call that was made, it either would have been a pick, a pass breakup, or a big play that they stopped short of the touchdown, right? Even if they don't make the adjustments that you're talking about.
Exactly right. But Blake still lined up outside. If they were going to stay with the call, Blake should have went ahead and got inside. He never lined up inside. He should have lined up inside and played exactly what his job was, which was the deep post, inside man, and the backside safety still supposed to play his half field and get some depth. So you had 2 guys, the 2 half field guys busted. Everybody else was cool.
All right, so let's go over the rest. We got Marcus Ray because Ray, I want to get as much into this game and kind of looking ahead as possible while we got you here. That wasn't the only big play that they gave up. They gave up over 400 yards passing to Gary Nova. Didn't force him into a turnover, and he looked like in a game previous that he was a turnover machine. They had opportunities at times. I mean, the Frank Clark play really kind of sticks out. Just give me a kind of a broad view of what else you saw on defense in that game.
What I saw on defense was guys who made some plays up front, and they played well against the run. But there were times when guys got out of their pass rush lanes up front, all right? Then I saw Rutgers have a game plan that was pretty good. It doesn't mean that Michigan shouldn't have executed or been able to stop Rutgers, but the way they ran certain formations and like that very first long pass that was 55 yards, the guy ran a shallow cross and he ran off. Michigan was in man-to-man. But Rutgers
they were in bunch where they
were in a bunch. Mm-hmm. And the number 2 guy on the bunch, he went vertical. Blake didn't get a good jam, And so JD didn't have a chance to play underneath because it's a natural pick route.
Mm-hmm.
So I think by design, Rutgers had some advantages based on what they knew Michigan was going to play.
Mm-hmm.
The middle of the field was wide open. Michigan was in man-to-man. Once again, the free safety, the guy that was in the middle, he took a poor angle, and that's how you give up big plays. So I saw guys who broke down fundamentally on defense. I'm not going to get into scheme too much, but I saw guys that broke down fundamentally. And I think Rutgers play calling, like when they ran the jet sweep, and the kid just came in motion, broke it around the end. 3 guys were unblocked. Joe Bolden, Taco Charlton, and one other guy was unblocked. And next thing you know, Rutgers got the perimeter, and they're just up. I just think that Rutgers' play calling was better than Michigan's play calling, and Michigan did not get to the quarterback. Gary Nova made some plays with his feet. See, he didn't force the throw. He tucked the ball, ran. One time he moved the chains. Another time, he was getting his team out of bad situations. But Rutgers wasn't really trying to run the ball because they're not a run team. But I just think defensively, Michigan got outplayed. All right. They got out executed. I think Rutgers did what they wanted to do versus Michigan not doing what they wanted to do, just to keep it on the elementary level. But that was a winnable game. But guys like Frank Clark, you got to make that sack. See, when you leave plays on the field, then
it bites you.
The win-loss column is going to start to add up one way or another, heavy in the L, low in the W.
Yeah, and you can't put that all on the Frank Clark play because Michigan had other opportunities in that game. Mm-hmm. But that 4-point differential between touchdown and field goal right there, because that's a third down play. You bring Gary Nova down right there, they're kicking a field goal. And how many points did Michigan lose by? They lost by 2 points.